Survival of the fittest is never very pretty.
That is Suzanne Vega from her latest album, Flying with Angels. Suzanne brings her Flying with Angels tour down under in September with 11 shows across Australia and New Zealand. We found Suzanne in New York City, where she told me about collaborating with Dylan, writing about Lucinda, jury duty with Patti, and being interviewed by Lou Reed. But first, her thoughts on the new record, now that it's been out for a year.
Better on the warpath, better on parade.
So yeah, it's been a whole year, almost to the day.
Yes.
And your question was, did I have any?
Just, do you think about it differently now than when it was released, when you were making it? The songs.
No. I still. It still feels very fresh and very new to me.
Right.
I feel like we have not reached the depth of what we could do with this album yet. You know, we've released some of the songs to radio. We've learned quite a few of them.
Right.
We've been touring it actually since half a year before it came out.
Right.
Because we released Rats as a single in September of the previous year, because they were supposed to have a rat convention here in New York. So
of course they were.
Of course there were a rat summit, a worldwide rat summit in New York. So I thought, great, let's release the single for Rats, which kind of came and went. But the Rats, however, remain.
Yes, I figured that they'll be here long after the rest of us are gone.
Yes.
Them and the cockroaches.
Yeah, the rats and cockroaches, exactly. So that's so we've been, although we've been promoting it a long time, it still feels like brand new, you know.
Right. Okay, cool. Now I was just listening to the New York Times list of the top 30 American songwriters that are living, blah, blah, blah. And I see that Lucinda Williams made the list, and you've written a song about Lucinda Williams. And
yes.
Apparently it took 25 years for you to write, according to something I've read. So
yes.
Tell me about that.
I think it was 22 years, but maybe 25.
That's close enough.
Two sides has Lucinda at the very least. She's a kind of angel, sometimes a beast. Loose is when she holds the light, cinder's what comes after, holding both inside her soul, all the raging laughter. Lucinda.
I think it was 2002. I saw Lucinda perform. And she's a woman that I knew even from before that. We knew each other from the Folk City days. So she had come down in the 70s and I came down in the early 80s. And we saw each other from time to time. And I think I even had her name and her address written in her own handwriting in one of my early journals. But I saw her there in 2002 and I took some notes.
Right.
Mostly on what she was wearing and what her hair looked like and what kind of makeup she had. And then when her autobiography came out 3 years ago now, or 2 years ago, I read it and I loved it and I thought it was so great. And I thought I should look at that song again and fill in her character and do a little more than just what she's wearing and what her makeup is. So I went into her book and I took several phrases out of how she described herself. And I kind of worked those in and we put together the song. And I've heard that she likes it. I've heard from a member of her crew or something that they were all drinking beer after the show and listening to it. So I'm pleased.
How could she not? I'm curious, did you see her? I think in 2002, she played Madison Square Garden opening for Neil Young, because I went to see that show. Was that when you saw her?
No, I saw her. We were both playing a radio festival in Denver, Colorado.
That's different. Yep. Okay.
So it was like a radio convention that went on for a few days. So it was a theater, and she was playing with a full band, and it was memorable. Yeah,
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I've seen her many times, and she's always great. Love it. Yep. Now, when you're touring here, I think you're taking Gerry Leonard with you. And I'm kind of curious as to the musical relationship you have going with him, because you've been working together for quite a number of years now, even though there's been big spaces in between the albums and stuff. So what is it that keeps you guys working together?
He's great. The thing that keeps us working together is one of the very first things he said to me when we started working together in the year 2000. So he said to me back then, he was one of the production, he came in with Rupert Hines production for the album Songs in Red and Gray. And I could see immediately he was this genius guitar player. And he came up to me and he said this thing. He said, I can play your guitar parts like you do. So I was like, well, that's nice, but I'm playing them. So thanks. But,
Right.
whatever. But then I broke my arm.
Oh,
Yeah, I broke my arm the day before 9/11, and we decided to go out on tour anyway, even though 9/11 had happened and my arm was broken and I could not use my right hand,
right,
my
right,
left hand.
right.
So I said, where's that guy who said he could play the guitar like me? And I, went, please come on tour with us. And he did. He was very gracious. And sure enough, he played all the guitar parts as well as his own parts. And that was the beginning of our working relationship. And I eventually healed. My hand is good now. And but the relationship continued, and we've done every configuration. We've done the duo show, we've done full bands, we've done trios. Now it's going to be a trio. We're coming with Stephanie Winters on cello,
Right.
and that kind of adds some really cool stuff. And she's also the two of them are doing background vocals.
Oh, nice.
And also, Stephanie does a bit of percussion. She plays a bit of a hand drum. And
Oh,
so
cool.
it's really cool. And they're always working on the arrangements and always keeping it fresh.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Now I was looking at some of your recent set lists
Oh,
online, and
yeah.
I see you're covering "Walk on the Wild Side," Lou Reed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it made me think. I said, "Well, wait a minute. Why does it make?" And then it kind of makes a little bit of sense in my mind, but maybe not for the same reason as you. The Doot to Doot to Do and Tom's Diner.
Do, do, do.
And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
okay, there
Do,
you
do,
go.
do, 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 and do, 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 do. Yeah, there's that similarity. That's true. And people like that. They like both of that. They
I'm
like,
sure they do.
but the choruses for both songs.
Yeah.
It was a song I was familiar with on the radio when I was young,
Right.
13 or 14. Lou Reed was the first person I saw where I went to a concert.
Ooh,
Um,
that's
um,
that's that's a good one to
it was
start with.
a hell of a first concert. I mean, not counting the show that I saw at Madison Square Garden with Billy Joel, but that's only because I was my sister's chaperone.
Right. That is, yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, it's a whole other thing.
Yep.
So this was a date, and he asked me would I like to come and see Lou Reed at Columbia University in 1979, and I said sure. And at first I was sort of repulsed, to be honest, because he's kind of, in those days he was this wild performer, throwing lighted cigarettes into the audience, and
I
people
think
were
Street
yelling
Hassle
back
was
at him.
fairly recent at that point, which has some questionable
Yeah.
material on it, but it's
Yeah,
also a
exactly.
good
So I was
album.
like, what the heck is this? But then by the time he got to the second set,
Yeah.
the band was great and he was great and the songs were all going and the theater had sort of stopped. I realized that the first half of the show had been kind of a theater.
Yep.
Um, and then the second half was just music and storytelling and songwriting. And I was like, wildly impressed and started to go out and watch him perform.
Right.
So I saw him for 7 years before I ever met him.
Right.
And then I met him, I met him on the show 120 Minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was
MTV. Yep.
MTV. He was the guest host, and no one told me that he was going to be the guest host, so I completely lose my cool.
I've got Suzanne Vega here with me, who is somebody I like and really admire, and she's been hailed as a leader of the folk revival, which is a kind of a terrible tag, I think, to get locked onto so early, to get that kind of mantle, to have to carry forward the flag of new folk revival. What's Greenpeace all about?
Well, actually, that's something I'm still discovering because I'm still finding out more information about, what it is about. The thing I know so far, anyway. Wait.
You can do it.
Back in
He can be
1986.
intimidating, yeah, because he has a
Yes.
reputation, doesn't he?
Yes, and so you can look that up if you like, or
right,
your
I
listeners
will.
can find that on YouTube. There
Yep.
I am, and losing my cool. But we knew each other after that, pretty much till the end of his life.
Yeah.
So once he passed, we started to get invited to all of these memorials. And we would say, well, I'll do this song or that song. And they were always taken, all the Velvet Underground songs. So
Sure.
finally we said, what about Walk on the Wild Side? And no one else was doing it. No one else would do it. So I said I could do that song.
Yeah.
And so we started doing it then, and we've continued pretty much ever since.
Cool. And when in general, I don't think you cover too many others too, but when you do you want to make it your own? Do you want to recreate it? How do you approach doing something like that?
Well, we do the same, interestingly, we do the same arrangement,
Right?
but it's obviously so different than Lou Reed's voice.
Sure.
Whenever I sing a song, it comes out sounding like me, but
Yes.
usually when I do covers, it's somebody like Blondie or
Right.
Elvis Costello, or, we do like fun, edgy things from the 80s, and, we have a good time.
Yeah, right. So I'm curious, because Lou Reed is very associated with New York City and the whole, and then there was the punk scene and Ramones and all that. Do you consider yourself part of that at all? Because
I
you're
was on
very
the
New York,
outskirts.
but people wouldn't put those together off the top of their heads, I think. But you
Well,
might.
I didn't go to CBGBs and hang out. I really did hang out in the folk scene. I hung out
Yeah,
at Folk City and I hung out at the Speakeasy, but I did go to CBGBs from time to time, not often. I
right.
saw PJ Harvey there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so eventually I I met Joey Ramone while doing the Howard Stern show. That was
Right.
fun. He
Yeah.
seemed to know who I was and we had a nice chat.
I would bet you would. Yep.
Yeah, so I knew a lot of the people just from being around New York,
Right.
as well as in those days we had the New York Music Awards. So you'd find all these different genres of New York rock and roll. You had hip hop, you had punk, you had the folkies, you had like everybody, and they would all mingle
Yep.
at these events. So it was really fun.
And of course, you had Lenny Kaye producing your first album.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's
So I
kind
would
of
run into Patti Smith constantly, and she was always like, I would go, "Hi, Patty," and she'd be like, "Hi." She's like, "You stay over there." She's told me once, "I feel like I already know you."
Oh, well,
I was like, "I work with Lenny. I feel like you're my spiritual cousin." And she's like, "I feel like I already know you." Like, calm down, stay over there. You know,
that's interesting.
yeah. I don't take it personally, and I still love her. I think she's great. And
Yeah.
I ran into her while doing jury duty. How
Oh,
weird is that? Yeah, I was like,
were you both
"Hi."
on the same jury? Because that would be something.
No, 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 it
There's a
was in the
TV show
line.
right there.
Crazy. No, no, we were released. My husband and I went down. We were released. Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, really, it's so weird.
Yep. All righty. Now let's see. Oh, so you've kind of covered Bob Dylan here with Chambermaid,
Yes.
extrapolating I Want You.
I'm the great man's chambermaid. I've seen where his hallowed head is laid. I revere the places he has stayed and clean crumbs from his typewriter. He is good to me. There's nothing he doesn't see, and he knows where I'd like to be, but it doesn't matter.
Was there legal things that you had to go through to be able to do that?
Yes, there were.
I'll bet.
First, we had to ask permission, which of course we were like, "Please, oh Bob, please let us do this thing." And he said, "Whatever." He said, "Great." So we got the permission, and then we had to go through his publishing company,
Right.
which he doesn't own his publishing anymore. So yes, we have to pay.
Right.
Yep.
Interesting. All right. And
Yep.
yeah, he's sold his publishing. Is that something that as you get older as a songwriter, you think about, or is there a reason why people are doing this that peons like us don't understand?
Yeah, it's called money. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, that's the thing. I sold a part of my publishing at one point a few
Right.
years ago. I never sold what's called the writer's share. And you always want to keep that as the writer because that is your share. And
Right.
I mean, you can sell it if you want to, but why would you do that? So, and I have the rights to the rest of my catalog. So, it's valuable and you
Right.
can sell it or keep it as you want. So I'd say there's a stripe of my catalog from the 80s and 90s that's more valuable
Sure.
over the course of time
Yep.
than the new stuff. But I think that the quality of the work is still the same.
Right.
And I still, so I own 100% of all the later material.
Gotcha. So do you lose kind of the ability to determine if it's being used in some film or
No,
TV?
everybody has to ask.
Oh,
All those versions of Tom's Diner that you're hearing,
right.
I've listened to them and said yes. So that's how that works. As the writer, I still have control over, and I work with Warner Chappell. I
Right.
like working with them. They're the other 75% of the publishing. So we work together, and I find it's a good relationship.
Do you have a favorite way that Tom's Diner has been used that was completely out of your mind when you wrote it?
So many, gosh. I was recently going back in time to listen to Tupac's Dope Fiends Diner.
Okay.
I don't even
As you
know
do.
if that, in the beginning, when I got the first rush of Tom's Diner
Right.
interpolations, I made Tom's album.
Yep.
So I don't think Dope Fiends Diner was done then because I don't think it's on that album, but it came out later. It was it was then. So I listened to it, and it's a good bit of storytelling.
Late night cooling with my homies, drinking Hennessy and cold brew. After smoking, stopped in Oakland, got the munchies for some soul food. So we stopped to get a bite to eat at the local barbecue. It's just another boring Monday, and there's nothing else to do. Now as we stepped out of the car, I heard someone behind me fighting. So I turned to look and find out what's the cause of this excitement. My brother was a dope fiend and the other was a dope man. And the dope man had an AK, said he'll spray and he's not joking.
And I was so honored that he listened to my music and that he actually took it seriously. He did his own version of it, which is very compelling.
Yeah.
So that I thought was pretty great. And Drake did a version. The producer Danger Mouse did a version that I liked. There's a version of it now that has won a Latin ASCAP award
Oh, okay.
for performance.
Yeah.
So I have to look up and see which one that is.
All right.
So it's still still out there.
Yep. All righty. Now, your the most recent album leads off with a song called "Speaker's Corner,"
Yeah.
and it's a co-write with Gerry, but it's got some political kind of nuances, if nothing,
Yeah.
probably more than nuances. What are your thoughts? Do you worry about putting it out there, and because it's a very divisive situation just in
It's a
general?
divisive situation. However, it is a divisive situation, but everybody is pro First Amendment.
Okay.
Everybody's pro First Amendment. It doesn't matter if you're left or you're on the right.
Right.
Everybody wants to say what they want to say, and nobody wants to be censored by the other party.
Gotcha.
And actually, to be honest, censoring is happening by both parties.
Right.
So, so I wasn't I wasn't biting my nails that hard over it because, it's a universal sentiment that we all want to stand on the speaker's corner and say what we have to say.
There's heartfelt pleas and arguments, but the sense no longer there. The sound ascends to heaven like the incense in a prayer. Speaker's corner, there it stands. Politics of song. Trying everything you feel, whether it is right or wrong.
But it is worrisome because, those who are in power are now suing people for using their First Amendment rights.
They are indeed.
Yeah, and they are serious about it, and some people are caving and knuckling
Right.
under, and that is bad. It's bad for democracy. It's bad for everybody. So it's an issue that continues every week to still be in the news and still be relevant.
Well, it's interesting that they deregulated all the broadcasting and all that back in the 80s and 90s with Reagan and all that, but the deregulation of it has led it to this point here where suddenly you have no control over it, or there's too much control, and these
Right, if you do a parody or if you do,
Yeah.
these things that are protected.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of them are jokes. But you have to learn to take a joke. I mean, that's part of being, an
Yeah.
adult. So if you start like striking down all these people who are like that's slander or
Yep.
that's treason, then that's a whole other thing. Then you've really gone into that weird world of where you cannot speak you can't say what you feel about the government, and
Yep.
that is then you start to play around with the very idea of democracy.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you come to a place like New Zealand or Australia or outside of the US, do you kind of have to think about and do a little research is what's going on in the country politically, what you can expect from people's viewpoints and how they may react to your lyrics?
I'm always trying to keep up to date with wherever I am because you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, I've learned that from traveling
Right.
over the years. You know, you land and suddenly there's a coup or something weird happening. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not that I'm expecting that in New Zealand, but I mean, we don't know, who knows? But on the other hand, the shows, I'm happy to talk politics with journalists and people from the radio, but the show is the show. And
Right.
the show is about the songs. And I tell stories from my own life, but I do not berate and I don't go the politics are there, but I tend some people who have heard me talking lately are come to the show and say, "Oh, I thought it would be more political." I'm like,
Uh-huh.
well, the politics are already in the song.
Yeah,
So you can find it there
definitely.
and know that it's there. But I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to be up there preaching to the converted.
Gotcha. Yep. All righty. And getting back to songwriting,
Yeah.
it seems like what you write about is very observational. And I'm assuming back in the 80s, you probably had a pad and paper and you were jotting things down or trying to remember what you saw and go back. And now you probably do you have a phone and are you taking
I do.
electronic notes all the time? Has that made a difference in your songwriting process?
Yeah. So yes and no. Yes, I take notes on my phone. If I have a good idea for a verse or something, I'll pop it out and I'll tag it in a certain way so that when I do the harvesting and
Right.
I want to get all my lyric stuff, I use that little I use the sign for yen. It's like a Y with a little equal sign on it, and
Right.
that means it's a lyric.
Ah,
So I pull it all off my phone and I put it into my notebooks. Or I carry my notebooks too. So I do it all. It's digital and it's also analog.
all right. And do you think your songwriting has evolved over the years? Or are you pretty much the same songwriter you were back in 85?
I'm slightly less filtered these days. And some of that I think is because from time to time I sit down and play like a Bob Dylan song on my guitar.
Right?
And I love to feel his thought processes and the curving, just like in the song Chambermaid. I do that. I feel the curving of his brain and I feel sometimes he's so casual. You can tell he's just throwing out what he's honestly feeling and thinking in the moment. He's not like I usually run it through a filter and then I edit it and then I boil it down and then I filter it again and then I edit some more. So it used to be like you'd end up with this tiny, pristine, crystallized song.
Right.
So maybe there's a little more air in it and it's a little more casual
All right.
these days. So, but I don't think it hurts it. I think it's just a different way of writing.
And are you always writing? Have you got stuff ready to go for a new album? Or it's been a little while since
It's been a little
year.
while, but not that long.
Not
Yeah,
long.
1
Yeah,
year.
I know.
Yeah. I'm not quite ready just to move on, but I am always taking notes and always trying to, it's how I process emotions and all kinds of things. So I'm always writing things, but I'm not ready to start working on a new album.
All righty.
Maybe
Well,
after the Australian tour.
hopefully we'll
Maybe after
inspire
that.
you.
Yeah, you never know.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.